All the world over, people love their pets, and probably there's no more pet that's typical of China than the goldfish. Basically, it comes from this area, and they have developed hundreds and hundreds of varieties of these things in every imaginable colour, shape. Some of them got fins missing, some of them have crests on their head, some of them have big bubbles under their eyes, all sorts of things. But this is a classic example of maybe China's #1 pet. This is a Chinese goldfish shop. Look at this, these are calico orandas. You can see the orandas have that little crested head there. Look at the enormous size there of the cap on this fish. The crest on it is so big, it's actually significantly bigger than the fish itself. I don't think there's any eyes visible, so this fish would have no eyesight. No eyes. Look at that. Isn't that astonishing? The Chinese breed quite amazing varieties of goldfish. In here are a lot of them which are called water bubble eyes. They have an enormous fluid-filled sac under each eye. Gee whiz, these are bizarre fish compared to a lot of the ones we see in Australia. Now this may look like whitebait, but in fact these are just thousands and thousands of live baby goldfish of all the different varieties. Look at them there. Obviously in Australia the RSPCA would never permit you to have these sorts of numbers of fish in one container, but apparently over here it's sort of okay. And look, they've been doing this for centuries, so they must know something of what they're doing. Well, for an animal nut like me, this is heaven. These are all discus fish, and I have never in my life seen discus of this sort of colour intensity. Look at some of these awesome fish here and the range of them down there. We do get some good discus in Australia, but I don't think I've ever seen anything quite at this level. Now, if you want to see the most bloated fish, I think, that has ever been, and they're bloated all the time, not just when they're frightened, that's the straight pearl scale. There it is there. An enormous bloated body. That's how they're meant to be. And every scale is swollen, like the opposite of a dimple on a golf ball. These are actually swimming golf balls, I suppose. This is fairly typical of what birds are to the Chinese. In a crowded country, a bird can occupy a very small space. Not perhaps the way we do, so much for prettiness, but for their song. They have lots of larks and various singing birds. They're often put in the tiniest of cages, and people are very proud of the singing prowess of their bird. Again, in Australia, this would probably be illegal for a large bird like that in such a small cage. However, his life doesn't seem too bad at the moment. Remember, there's 1.3 billion people in China, and it's only just a bit bigger than Australia, about 20% bigger than Australia. So small pets really are very good. And in fact, really, really, really tiny little pets are the best of all. Have a look at this for these. All right. This is a full-grown, it's a golden bell. I'm not sure if it's a cricket or a grasshopper, but this has a beautiful golden bell sound. That little dish in the middle there has the rice food that it feeds on. These are kept as pets, believe it or not, for their sound. These are genuine crickets, here again kept for their sound. And these ones, these are super aggressive crickets that are kept, now you're not going to believe me, for cricket fighting. You know how they have cockfighting in some areas of the world? Well, they have cricket fighting, and they select the really aggressive ones to fight with other ones, and I presume they gamble on it and all that sort of stuff. And they go to no end of trouble. Now look at this. Little grasshoppers and so on, in its own little cage. And they keep them as pets. You know, that would be quite an expensive little cage, that one. If you're wondering what these gourds are at the back, obviously crickets tend to make a better noise when things are dark. They actually make a hole in those, put them in those, keep them in there. In the dark, they make their noise. You get lovely reverberations inside the gourd, and everybody's happy. For $30, you can get this wonderful little apartment block for those little miniature bell crickets. This bit slides off here, and then you can open this up and put your little cricket in there. Then it's got its own sort of high-rise, well not low-rise I suppose it is, apartment block. It's pretty good, isn't it? But there you are, the ultimate in small pets. That little thing is a fraction the size of a fingernail, kept for its sound. Now surely you've got enough room to have a pet cricket.